2022 was the year that everything changed. I had no idea that the goals that I set last year would change me. This year taught me that easier is not always better, and there is so much to be learned from working with the land and getting my hands a little dirty. This year taught me that in order to learn, I needed to have the humility to be taught. It taught me that there is so much that I can learn from my family, and that having a family that loves and supports and teaches you is one of the greatest blessings. I learned that living in harmony with the seasons and working with the land not only nourishes your body, but also your soul. And that it can be so fun to learn new ways to save money and live off of what you have. The silence and the solitude of working outside with my hands finally gave my soul the space to heal. I learned that I didn't need to get dressed up and drink too much in order to have friends and people that love me. My Friday nights don't have to be filled with blurry memories that I cringe at the next day. I got to experience what my body feels like when it's fit and strong, well-fed and well-rested. This year I got to cut out the excess. I got to get rid of clothes and things and stuff that just gave me a false identity. And I got to share my blessings with people that really needed them more than me. I even sold my dream car in order to experience what real financial freedom really feels like. I got serious about saving money. I started working side jobs that taught me the value in hard work. This financial freedom and independence made me feel like I could start chasing my dreams without needing a partner, without needing to be in a relationship or be married. I was able to start appreciating being single, appreciating being independent and on my own, and that I didn't need to be in a relationship in order to feel valuable. This year, I started to remember my roots. I started to remember where I came from and who I was when I was a little girl. I started to remember how to have an imagination, how to enjoy being dirty and playing outside. This year taught me that there is so much joy to be had in being childlike. One of my favorite lessons from this year was from little Miss Okie, my new puppy. She taught me that some of the best things in life pee on your floor. She taught me that sometimes the best things are work, that sometimes the best things are commitment. She taught me that there is so much richness and responsibility. Animals have always had a way of making me look at the world differently. She's also been teaching me that there's a lot of joy in playing in the dirt and being a little messy. This year, I got to learn the importance of community, that we can't do this journey alone, and that I need friends and family. I need my town. I need my community. And that it all just starts with showing up. And lastly, this year has taught me that some of the best moments are lived slowly. Thank you guys for being a part of this journey with me and watching as I grow and learn. I can't wait to see what this next year holds.
Friends! All right, so we're gonna talk about New Year's resolutions. Okay, I love New Year's resolutions. I feel like we live in a world where a lot of people hate New Year's resolutions, but I secretly feel like it's just because they know that they can't follow through. And so they blame the people that try and follow through. You know who you are. No, I'm just kidding. I totally get the idea of, if I want to change my life, I want to do it whenever I want to. I don't want to have to wait until New Year's to do that. I totally get that. I've made a lot of the big changes in my life before New Year's. But also, I personally feel like New Year's is my time to be able to reassess, where I can sit down and intentionally look at the past year, where I've been and where I'm going. And knowing myself, if I don't do that, then I'm just gonna be like a hamster on a hamster wheel, just going around in circles. So knowing that about myself, I know that I need to be intentional and I need to be really structured. I have ADHD, I have dyslexia, I just get very convoluted and my thoughts are very choppy inside my head. And so I know that I need to have structure and schedule and intentional time set apart for stuff like that in order for my brain to be able to think clearly. It's really helpful for me. So I wanted to talk about like this last year of all the New Year's resolutions that I succeeded in, some that I failed in, some that I reassessed halfway through the year and decided that's not actually a priority for me, and just because I said this at the beginning of the year doesn't mean that I actually have to follow through and do it. So I had a huge year. I don't feel like every year is going to be like this for me because I just made so many huge life-changing shifts this year, and I really committed to, I'm just doing it and I'm committing to it and I'm not going back. I'm not looking back, I'm just looking forward, and I'm just putting the blinders on and running straight forward. I also wanted to make this video because I feel like before, when I was trying to change these big things like cutting out alcohol, cutting out toxic boys, toxic relationships, toxic friends, prioritizing my relationship with God, my health, I feel like I would try and I would start, but I was just in an environment where no one around me was really following through with what they were saying they wanted to do. And so it just felt like it was never an option to succeed, if that makes sense. So I want to make this video to encourage you to say that if you want to change a part of your life, if you want to prioritize something different, if you want to change who you are, you can. And it's so exciting and so fun. It's hard, but it's so worth it. And I just want you to know that it is possible and you can follow through with things, and it's fun and freeing. So I want to go through a couple of the different New Year's resolutions that I set last year, and I use Notion. So I put all of my year goals into Notion. So my first one was I wanted to start the year out with a prayer fast. So I had never done any sort of fasting before, and I had some pretty big questions about the relationship that I was in and wanting specific healing. And so I just figured, like, the Bible talks about it, and why not give it a go, see if it's worth it. So I did the Daniel fast, which is basically eating vegan for 3 weeks. You don't have any meat, you don't have any dairy, you don't have any animal products, you just have fruit, vegetables, and grains and seeds. It was difficult, but it was the best kind of difficult. This whole year of like cutting things out and challenging myself and really putting more pressure on like following through with myself has really opened my eyes to, like, we as human beings, we crave challenge. We crave being uncomfortable and working through it. And that process is so rewarding, and that's where true confidence comes from. That's where self-assurance comes from. like knowing who you are is when you work through difficult things, when you endure. And I think especially living in America, middle class person, there's not a lot in my everyday life that I have to endure through. And I don't want to be a wimp. I don't want to be a softie. I want to be tough and strong. And I want to put myself intentionally in situations that work that muscle of being strong and being tough. So something like fasting was a way of doing that. So I did that. I did several no spend months, and that was huge. I actually did that a bunch of times. I've made a couple videos on that, and I think I'm gonna do the same thing this next year. Maybe like every other month or something, doing a no spend month. So did that. That was successful. I wanted to publish music, which was really huge for me. I write songs and sing, and one of my goals this year was I want to do like 3 original songs and upload them to Spotify. And once the ball got rolling, I just kept doing songs, and I ended up having 14 that were finished and that are now on Spotify. And I can put the link below if you want to listen to any of them. They're not perfect, but I'm really proud of them. So that was a huge, huge success for me. Being able to see like, oh my gosh, I followed through with something that's so huge and so scary, and feeling like my heart and soul is out there for people to see. And I was brave enough to do it and figure out how to do it with all the technology, and I just really put myself out there, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that. That was huge. Another challenge that I set for myself was 30 days of working out 5 days a week, and I failed on that one. I did not do that. Before I got Oakley, I had a pretty good routine of doing like 3 to 4 times a week of working out, but I wouldn't say that I ever fully did like a whole 30 days of that. And then when I got Oakley, I just felt so guilty going to the gym. Like if I left her home all day, I couldn't just come home, let her out for a second, then leave again and go to the gym. I just felt guilty and wrong about that. So I started working out from home, which I have not found a good rhythm for that yet. I really have not. I've always kind of struggled with having a good rhythm with working out. Eating healthy and nutrition side of health has always been a lot more easy and natural for me. Whereas the exercise part just has not. So that's a good goal for myself maybe for this next year. But also I realized too that I think it's okay for my goals to be different than other like health and fitness people. It's okay for me to not need to be an athlete or have shredded abs. I want to be healthy and I want to take care of my body, but I don't know if I actually care that much about having like huge muscles or having a huge butt or, you know, something like that. I don't actually know if that's a huge priority for me. I think more of a priority is for me to feel good and feel healthy and feel comfortable in my body still and take good care of it and feel strong still. But I don't know if that looks like being at a gym an hour a day, every day for me. So learned that through this year. 30 days of 20-minute prayers. I didn't do that. I feel like this last year I have really worked on my relationship with God and for making room and space in that for my life, but I never had like that structured time. And I think what I might do is if I want to do something like that this next year, I think I need to have something to pair with it, like a 20-minute walk every day, and then during that walk I use it for time to talk to God and pray, and instead of it just being kind of like sporadic throughout my day and throughout my thoughts. But regardless of that I didn't fully succeed in that one, I still feel like my relationship with God has multiplied. Cousin's calling me. Hey, yo.
Hello?
Cousin!
Hi. Are you busy right now?
My cousin just surprised me and swung by my house, and we got to catch up and chat for like an hour or so and had a cup of coffee together, and it was good. It was such a sweet surprise. Anyways, back to what I was saying. I honestly don't remember totally where I left off, but one of the other goals that I had was to hunt and gather food, and I definitely did that with gardening and with working on learning how to preserve food. That was a huge goal of mine, was to really focus on that, just to learn how to live more off of the land and my environment and provide my own meat. And this whole year, all the meat that I have eaten has been either raised by my family or harvested by my family. That was a good goal for me this year. One of the goals I had was to improve on my guitar skills. That didn't really happen at all. The only time I worked on my guitar was when I was writing songs, which honestly, like when I write songs, I just don't tend to, I kind of tend just to use it as a writing tool, not necessarily to get better at playing guitar, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't say that really improved, but I think it still served its purpose. No social media fast. I did that for a month and it was so good. I want to go through all my social media and kind of declutter all that stuff just to make it a really positive experience. That was really good and I want to do that again this next year. No alcohol. Did that 100%. Didn't drink any alcohol for the whole year, and I did a video on that if you want to check that video out. Find a home church. I did that. I feel like I found a church that I really like and enjoy, and I'm still trying to figure out how to figure out what that's supposed to look like and how God really intended church to look like and feel like and be, and my role in that. So that's still a work in progress, but I did find a home church. I had a financial goal that I succeeded in. Yay! So that was fun to be able to meet that financial goal. I did one video on how I saved up $50,000 by 26 earlier in the year that you can check out, that kind of talks about how I saved up that money, especially not really making a lot of money. I definitely don't make a lot of money, and I'm well below the national average of what most Americans make. So it's just a good video talking about, like, even with not having a high income, you can still be financially free and successful. At least to me, that feels comfortable and successful, and I'm proud of myself for that. Looking to buying a house. I did so much research on buying a house. I actually almost put an offer on a house and it just wasn't the right house, wasn't the right fit, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because the market's kind of changing right now. But anywho, I feel like I know so much more about that process of buying a house, which is good. Another goal that I had was to post 10 YouTube videos, which I did, and I actually posted way more than that. I started my channel and I've been doing weekly uploads, not always on the same day, but I've at least had a video up once a week, and that surpassed my resolution for this last year, and I'm so proud of myself for putting myself out there and just doing it. Even though I've been fumbly and still figuring myself out on this platform, I did it, and that's a huge success. Oh, and then the last thing is I wanted to get a puppy and train a puppy. That was a goal that I had for this year, and I did it, and I have Oakley, and I love Oakley so much, and we're still working on training, but it's going well. Slowly but surely she is learning, and I am learning how to train a dog and how to be a good leader of the pack. But it's been really good. So that's the majority of my New Year's resolutions for this last year, and the ones that I feel like I really succeeded in and surpassed, and the ones that I probably failed in and didn't really meet that expectation, partially just because of like, oh, I didn't get around to it and I didn't actually do it, and then partially because it just ended up not being a priority. Halfway through the year I kind of realized I don't actually feel like I need to do this. I don't actually feel like this is a priority for me this year. So I think overall it was such a success and so good for me to set that time aside to really think about how I wanted to challenge myself over that year, and I'm so glad that I did, because I feel like it actually really did change me, and I was able to grow so much through taking that action and taking that commitment and taking the initiative to say out loud, like, this is something that I want to do, and this is why this is important to me, and I'm going to be intentional about pursuing that change. So I think that it was very much a success. So I hope this is encouraging to you, that if you do want to set New Year's goals or resolutions, that there can be success in it. I don't think that it has to be something where you should feel embarrassed about wanting to set New Year's resolutions for yourself, or New Year's goals, or New Year's intentions. I think that it can be really good, and I think that you can follow through, and it can change your life, and it can change who you are. And I think that it's so worth setting that time aside to reflect and set new goals for yourself and work on your life and really making your life what you want it to be and who you are, who you want to be. That makes sense. But I'll see you guys in my next video. I will probably do more on some New Year's goals and resolutions, and you guys will just keep seeing me grow and change and challenge myself, and I'm so happy for each and every one of you. It really makes me feel so happy to hear your guys' comments and sharing your heart and advice and experiences with me. That's really what I've wanted this whole time, and it makes me really happy when, especially when the same people comment on my videos and they watch each one. Like, that means so much to me, and it's so rewarding to me, and it just makes me really happy. So thank you. I will see you in my next video. Happy New Year!